All right. So now we have Sara McMann versus Julianna Pena. So Sara McMann, she's 40 now, quite a respectable age for a fighter, and especially women's MMA where they rely a lot on their speed. Sara McMann never one to really rely on her speed, more her strength, which doesn't necessarily go away until you're like very old. Um, and obviously it hasn't because she still looks in great shape and uh, yeah, looks in great shape. Still, keeps a good pace. She just got married, so maybe that's a morale booster. Probably feeling pretty good about herself. Her record is quite deceiving in my opinion. 12-5, I think. Probably deserves. Well, it doesn't. Deserves. You don't deserve anything in this world, but it could be much better. In my opinion, she was winning a few of those fights. She lost by submission. She's lost, I think, a few split decisions that maybe haven't gone her way. Let's have a look. I think she was winning that fight. Maybe no. Maybe Renault was winning in the first round, and then Sara took over, and then second round like dropped her. I believe. Caitlin Vieira. Oh yeah, Sara was dominating that fight until she got reversed. Amanda Nunes, what can you do? And I believe, I think Tate won that fight, but it was really competitive. And Tate, she's a decent fighter. Ronda Rousey, yeah, yeah. What are you gonna do about Ronda? Like that was Ronda in her prime, and everyone was just terrified of her. And then yeah, if you're a grappler, you just have no chance against Ronda. All right, so let's break down the striking of these two women. So pretty easy to break down the striking of these two guys. Just get my screen back up. Sara McMann, she pretty much just looks to close the distance with a 1-2. Just pretty much blitz 1-2s and then shoots. Like, she doesn't like being on the feet too often. She would prefer to, make it a wrestling match and, fight like that. Julianna Pena, quite the same. She likes to, have a little grapple as well. She, on the feet, she is very flat-footed. She will usually be on the front foot, just kind of stalking her opponent, not cutting off any angles or whatever, but just kind of walking them down. And then when her opponent does strike, she'll dip very hard to her right to avoid like overhands and like straights from an orthodox opponent. But yeah, she dips very hard. So when she's leaning back, that's obviously an opportunity for her opponents to get in on the legs, which is definitely something Sara McMann will be looking at. So pretty much every strike or combination that Julianna throws is usually leading off with the lead hand. So it's either a lead hook or just, straight up lead jab. So yeah, you kind of know what's coming there. Alright, so the grappling is where it really gets interesting and where I think the fight's going to spin, well, where the fight's mostly going to be. So we'll stay with Julianna. So she lets her opponents get the underhooks quite easily. She let Nico Montano get underhooks pretty easily in their last fight. Also, she will give her back to get back to her feet. She sticks her neck out when like chaining fence takedowns from like a single to a double. I think that's how JDR caught her. If JDR's catching you in a guillotine, yeah, it's obviously a hole in your game. She'll there's a few nice things that she does. So she'll use a front head pinch to control the opponent in 50-50 positions. She did that well against, Montano. She will turn that front head pitch into a guillotine or a dust trap, and then she'll look to either revert, maintain top control or, advance to side mount or mount, or she'll, sit down into it and, go for the submission. But most likely, or in most cases, she just looks to pass guard just with that guillotine or Darce trap. Sara McMann, she'll get the fight to the ground, get in full guard, advance to half guard, get crossface, get in mount side control. And that's pretty much the Sara McMann special. Like, that's what she'll do. You can just kind of guarantee that if she's in your guard, you know what her next steps are. She doesn't rush her transitions or submissions. Like, she's very patient. She'll, wait for the right opportunity. She doesn't mind, maintaining top control in the guard for a whole round. She doesn't mind that at all. She's very strong in the double unders position. Like, she's got nice outside or inside leg trip from the double unders clinch. And that will probably be open in this matchup against Pena, because, she does allow that quite a fair bit. Also Sara McMann. So when she is in top position, she can be a little, lackadaisical with her sub defense. She has been triangled, armbarred a few times from the bottom. She can get a little bit lazy and let the opponents isolate her arms. But mostly in top position, she's looking for ground and pound. Mostly in top position, she's looking to advance, unless she's versing like a good BJJ practitioner such as like Vieira or who was the other one that she didn't look to advance on? Something. I can't think of it. But she mostly just goes for ground and pound if she's versing someone that's well versed on the ground. Her favorite technique would probably be the arm triangle. So that's when she's getting inside mount. That's obviously one of the submissions that's available there. She's got a pretty good squeeze on it. As I said before, she's pretty strong, pretty naturally strong for, the weight class. She will attempt to finish some takedowns on her knees, which is obviously not advised, as you can't get that drive or pivot or, angle off at all. Most of her takedowns are very nice from the clinch. She can, get some nice doubles on the fence. She doesn't complete a lot of her takedowns on her knees, but I noticed some that she did. She'll frame off on her opponent when they try and get up off bottom. She did that in her last fight. I forgot who it was against. I think Lena Landsberg. She tried to get back up to her feet, and Sara McMann just kind of pushed her back to the ground. So obviously, very strong. Obviously looking for top control. That's one of her favorite things. So when she does have top control, and she's near the fence, she'll do similar to what the Dagestanis do. She'll get an underhook on the cage side. She'll control the wrist from the back, and then with the free arm, because she has both arms trapped of the opponent, as she's got the bottom arm trapped, and then the top arm is just caught as she's leaning into their body. She'll use her free arm to just land some ground and pound. It's kind of a semi-crucifix position. They're quite defenseless in the position that they're in. A lot of the Dagestanis do it. Alright, so how these guys win. So Sara McMann, obviously, she's got really nice wrestling, high-level wrestling. Went to the Olympics way back when, probably I think 2004 it was. She sets up her takedowns actually pretty well. With her strikes, the blitz 1-2 or the feint, and then pressure it onto the fence and then shoot. She sets them up really well. On top, she is pretty heavy, tight on top. She doesn't leave too much room for the opponent to get up. Usually when she is on top, she keeps the opponent down for the whole round, which is quite rare in women's MMA, unless you're like Amanda Nunes or Valentina Shevchenko. A lot of women just get reversed. They're just, possibility to get reversed. But there's a few, that have really nice top control. And that's nice to see as a wrestler. So on the feet, her striking is, this is probably a negative thing that I wrote down, so I'll leave that till later. But yeah, she's also strong in the fence position. She's pretty much just a strong individual. But yeah, she can control the fight on the fence. For the Venezuelan vixen, she grinds her opponents. She's obviously, that's her game plan. She likes to, wear down opponents. She's got that constant pressure game plan, just stalking, just clinching a lot, creating scrambles, trying to take them down constantly. So that's pretty much her game plan. How these guys lose will stay with Julianna. She can get muscled in the clinch. She has been a few times in her career. She can go for some sloppy takedowns, especially some sloppy trips in the clinch. And, they frequently leave her on bottom, or just, they frequently trip her up, or she gets put off balance. And then she's in a compromised position, or she just gets taken down by opponents just using her momentum against her. She doesn't have great top control either. She'll allow opponents to place their feet on her hips and just kick away, and she just doesn't have too much defense for that. Also on the ground, she doesn't have the greatest get-ups, and her takedown defense is, leaves a lot to be desired. She'll pull guard for some reason at times, because as I said before, her get-ups aren't great, so I don't understand why she pulls guard at times. On when she does get top control, she isn't great at advancing position. She'll usually not advance past guard or half guard unless she's versing an absolute white belt on the ground. But for Sara McMann, the way she loses, she can stall on a single or a double and then leave her head on the outside, kind of allow her opponent to land some hammer fists or some elbows. She also, as I said before, she'll allow opponents to isolate limbs when she's in top control. And also when she's on the bottom, she doesn't have great get-ups as well. Obviously, as a wrestler, you don't expect to be put on the bottom very often, but, when she is, she doesn't have great get-ups. Alright, so past the victory, we'll go with Sara McMann first. For fuck's sake. Don't worry about that. So she will, take her back. No, I'm sorry. Nope. Don't worry about that. Alright, so she would be wise to, is what I mean, to take her back when, Julianna turns or just kind of dips her body, because I think JDR nearly took the back when JDR pretty much extended on a 2. Julianna leaned back, and then JDR kept pushing forward, and then Julianna kind of turned away and gave her back. That's something to look at. Obviously, just feigning or just throwing the right hand and then shooting is always there, because she leans back and then, exposes her legs for a takedown. So the fence clinch also, if you want to control that position as well, throw some knees, get some short shots in there, just get some points on the board. The Sara McMann special, just bring it out. That's pretty much what you're going to need, use for this fight. You should be able to control her on top position. And then, if she's going to play in the clinch game, or she's going to clinch up and she's trying to enforce her clinch game on you, just wait for her to do one of her trips, and then she's trying to counter it. Obviously Sara McMann has a strong base. I'd probably say, a much stronger base and much stronger core than what Julianna would have. So I would be confident, saying she has the clinch advantage in this one, even though that's a lot of Julianna's game. Obviously be vigilant of submissions off bottom, because Julianna will throw a few up. For Julianna, her past the victory, just a hard 2 when Sara McMann blitzes. I think Renault caught her with a straight right and then dropped her. Obviously Sara McMann has been dropped a few times. Just go for that hard 2 when she's blitzing in. clinch underhooks. Yeah, so, just try and clinch up when Sara McMann blitzes. Just try and, avoid the double leg. So, underhooks you're also looking for when she's blitzing. Don't lean back. Obtain top control in any way possible. So yeah, if you can get a reversal off bottom, or if you can, it's going to be hard to get her to the ground, but you can just absolutely try and see, just gauge her strength in the clinch early on and see if you'll be able to take her down. And if you can't, then, just on the feet, just have a good game plan. With the twos and then catching her while she's coming in. Obviously there are paths to victory for Julianna. But I see McMann just getting the better of her in the clinch, and also, if it gets onto the mat, I don't think Julianna will have too much off her back that it will give McMann any trouble. I see. I think it's hard for Pena to get on top unless she drops McMann, stuns her, or I don't know, maybe reverses her on bottom. On the feet though, it's, I don't think it's too much of a mismatch. I think McMann, Julianna's striking offense isn't great either, but on the feet I think it's pretty even. They both aren't great strikers. They're not going to wow you with their hands. Sara, she actually has pretty nice hands. She has pretty sharp hands, nice hooks, but she doesn't throw them very often, and she obviously uses a lot of speed in that, and could be declining with age, but she still looked fairly fast and fairly sharp in her last fight. Pena probably come out with a pressure game plan as she usually does. She probably will throw more volume than Sara. So, Sara has the nicer hands, but Pena's probably going to throw more volume and also be on the front foot. So who the judge is going to, value more, it's probably going to be Pena, just based on grit, which is, how she wins her fights. In my opinion, I think Sara McMann is just going to do what she does, what she normally does. And the prediction is Sara McMann by decision. But yeah, she also can get the finish. So I wouldn't be, the money line's good enough. I think I got it at $1.90. It's $1.80 at the moment. I still think that's value, to be honest. I think anything above 170 is value. I think Sara wins this fight at least higher than 60% of the time. So anything above 170 is value. Honestly, the line right now, pretty good still. But yeah, I don't get too greedy with the decision line. I just don't think it's worth it. I think she can definitely get the finish in this fight. But yeah, we'll get to the next fight.